Since childhood, I have been fond of mysticism, but over time, all that remained of this hobby was the desire to properly ruffle my nerves by watching the next horror movie or reading a creepy story. In real life, I have not come across anything terrible and inexplicable. Until recently. It happened in June. It was a warm weekend and all my family went to the village together, stocking up on everything necessary and leaving me an apartment and money to use, which I was easily going to spend during these couple of days in nightclubs. I enjoyed the freedom and anticipation of a great party tonight. However, by evening I had a slight fever, and the desire to go somewhere immediately abruptly disappeared. That's why I sat down to watch movies. When the next of them ended, the clock showed the first hour. I didn't want to sleep at all. I moved to the kitchen, and then a chill ran through my skin. The feeling of inner excitement that appeared out of nowhere subsided as abruptly as it began, but I decided that since I went towards the kitchen, I should lock all the locks on the door, and in the vestibule. After all, you are alone at home, and you feel like that in more security. Having closed myself to everything that is possible, and having made a couple of sandwiches, I moved to the computer, went into World of Warcraft and left reality for an indefinite time. After passing the next instant, I hardly turned my tired eyes to the clock. It showed 2:11. I need to go to bed, I thought, and then my thoughts were interrupted by this sound. It's like a string broke in me. Such a wild, animal fear fell on me that goosebumps danced on my can body. Even now, when I remember this, I am thrown into a cold sweat. I must say that sometimes you are scared of something specific, but this was not the case. I didn't understand why I reacted this way to a completely ordinary knock on the door, but my subconscious mind decided for me. Yes, it was a knock on the door. And now I can say with certainty why I reacted to him the way I did. The fact is that no one lived in the neighboring apartment. It was rented out, and the last tenants moved out a few weeks ago, after which it stood completely empty. This means that there should not have been anyone alive in the vestibule except me, and I closed the lock on the iron door of the vestibule a few hours ago. Someone outside the door of my apartment was able to bypass the iron door. The knock was repeated. It was already more insistent. I don't know how I overcame myself, but I went closer to the door, trying not only not to make noise, but not even to breathe, and began to listen. Someone at the door sniffed, then fell silent. And suddenly he pounded with all his might on the door. It already seemed that there was more than one creature, since the knock moved so quickly throughout the door that it was hard to imagine that someone alone could move limbs so quickly. I jumped into the room and grabbed my cell phone with trembling hands. I cursed the touch screen 100 times, but still got through to my boyfriend. I don't know what he got there, since I couldn't articulate a word, but he said that he would take a taxi and be there soon. This meant that I needed to hold out for about 30 more minutes. I didn't think about how I would open the door when he arrived, didn't think about how I would explain it all. Panic controlled me. Outside the door, meanwhile, they began to howl and scratch, then knock again. Tears streamed down my cheeks, but I didn't make a single sound. I have never been so scared in my life. Suddenly, the lights went out in the corridor, and people started laughing outside the door, unhealthy, in a different way. And then I heard something that made me grab the phone and tell my boyfriend that everything is fine with me and that he should come in the morning. A hoarse, but at the same time childlike voice from behind the door cheerfully said, "He will come, and you will still open. He. So why wait? Let us in." I was shaking wildly. The swarming outside the door continued, but I no longer paid attention to it. As soon as I lay down on the bed, I fell into a deep sleep like a coma. In the morning my boyfriend still came. As he said, the iron door of the vestibule was wide open. And what happened to the front door, we have already seen both. There was no new brown upholstery. There was only a piece of wood with huge scratches and, apparently, teeth marks. I immediately gathered the essentials and went to the guy. My family believed me, and how can you not believe it when the evidence is here? Now I'm afraid they'll ever come again, and the doors will be open.